This weekend, a historic basketball rivalry will be reignited as Charles Barkley travels down to San Antonio for the Final Four. Fret not, San Antonio, as reinforcements are on the way with the Cougars coming to town. Welcome back to the Moonstamp Cast. I'm joined by the churros to my big old women, Jorden. Jorden, how are you, bud?
Oh my God, that was so good. I'm a little nervous for this weekend as a UH fan, but oh my God, that was great. It's insane. He just says that shit on national TV.
That and Galveston just gets strays all the time. Now, he's laid off for the past couple of years, but last year Galveston caught a lot of strays.
Yeah. The thing with Galveston, and I think we can both agree, muddy water. So it's not a pretty beach. It's not like a crystal clear vacation beach. Well, the San Antonio Straits just come hard and fast. They're pretty. It's not like, oh, their water sucks. It's like, no, your women are fat. That's like his entire thing.
It is one of the most wild things I've ever heard. And it happened for years. Mm-hmm. There's compilations on YouTube about it.
I think I looked it up like recently. There was like a 45-minute compilation of him just shitting on San Antonio, which keeps San Antonio lame or whatever. I don't know. There's the hats I saw one time, but yeah, no, that's crazy. Well, Brian, I'm happy to be here this week. I feel hope for the first. I mean, I feel something. We'll get to that when we talk about college basketball. We will get to that. But let's start with the Astros first. The baseball season has started. Surprisingly, during the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, which isn't a good time to start any sport when there's one clear winner in the sports demographic. But yeah, no, the Astros have looked. They have about as many runs as the women in San Antonio do. So, which is very few. So they do not look good this season.
It's new names, new places, new faces, same old fucking offense right now. It's abysmal. Now, I would love to say the new guys are, new town, got to get it going, nervous, they'll get it right eventually. But I said the same thing about our last first baseman, and Abreu turned out to be one of the worst contracts I've ever seen in my entire life. But speaking of new faces and new places and doing well, Kyle Tucker is on a 3-game home run streak.
Does he have a torpedo bat, or is this just Kyle Tucker?
It's just Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I think Cam Smith is going to be long. I'm not upset by Cam Smith at all, but Paredes and Christian Walker, who has nothing to do with Kyle Tucker, have – Now, Christian Walker has hit the shit out of the ball. He's averaging something like 100 – or he was at least going into yesterday averaging like 111 off the bat or something crazy like that. Like absolutely insane. But yeah, we just got to hope this offense finds its rhythm because starting pitching has looked pretty good and some bullpen problems because I don't know what it is about this team, but we're cursed to start off slow every single year, no matter what.
Yeah, I looked it up. Every player except for Altuve, technically McCormick, but he's had like 2 at bats, so I don't even know if we can count it. And someone else, I remember who, have a negative OPS plus, which means not only are they below average, they're so below average that they're some of the worst MLB players right now. Altuve is the only one with like a semblance of a batting average. He says like 448. There are a concerning amount of zeros at the beginning of batting averages in our lineup. This is the way it starts every year, though. It starts slow. The Astros look like, the dynasty. So, I mean, I think maybe it was last year or the year before. I don't know. I think it was actually last year. I wrote a blog about how, the dying dynasties. And I put the Astros in that context. Do I hope Paredes and Walker pick up on what their purported reason for what signing was, which was they're going to hit to left field and they're going to hit it hard and they're going to hit it fast. Walker's hitting it hard. Not home run ball yet. So that's kind of, I think, what the management of the Astros is looking for. That's what the Jeff Bagwell is looking for whenever he signed, or Dana Brown too. But I count Jeff Bagwell as the head of the 3-pronged dragon. But yeah, no, I am not able to overreact to sports right now because I'm in a good enough mood where I'm like, who cares?
You have enough stress going along with Houston sports that the Astros are the least of your concern. And we'll get to that a bit later. But yeah, you're right. It is. You can't get concerned right now. It's a baseball season. There's 162 of these things. We're 2-2 as of recording right now. The people will find their place. The Astros will settle down and get it going.
I will say one thing about the Astros. What the hell is their schedule? Why for the next 3 days are they playing? I mean, tonight's Tuesday. They're playing at 8 o'clock. Why are they playing at 2 and 4 for like the next 3 days? I don't understand. MLB is just the weirdest conglomerate of sports because it's like they don't want fans. You'll see because they started the season during March Madness on the weekend apart. Like if they had started today or yesterday on Monday, where it was like, let's start today. We have a whole week to kind of establish the product, and then we can, go into compete with March Madness. Start on a Thursday, which is the same day you have Sweet 16 games. Go through the entire weekend, having day games as well when you have Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. And then, don't put them all on MLB TV.
That was a catastrophe, by the way. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't the MLB TV wasn't working. I don't understand the thought. It's like they don't want more fans. Why not have a TBS game, a lead in or a lead out of a TBS game? I don't know. I just think Rob Manfred sucks at his job. He will continue to suck at his job. And also kind of speaking of Rob Manfred and his job, the Yankees bats. I was under the impression we kind of all figured bats were perfected in the 1910s. We all kind of got the idea behind it. There were some rules established. It's the diameter of thickness. I thought we all to be fair, I never looked at the rules. I thought the shape of the bat was just the shape of the bat. You have little design changes, little things here and there. But the shape of the bat was the shape of the bat. It turns out we didn't even put our top scientists on it. The Yankees get one guy from MIT who has a physics degree, not to discount that. And next thing you know, they're destroying Nestor Cortez. He's dead. He's gone. His ERA is going to haunt him the rest of the season. Turns out we didn't ask one smart person, hey, how do we hit good? So I don't think they should be banned.
I don't have a problem with it.
No.
I think people are rightfully hate the Yankees for what the Yankees are and their fans for what they are. At the same time, God damn, does every fan base wish they were the ones that figured this out. I would love it. But as Astros fans, we'd get destroyed for it, which is okay. I mean, that's kind of just our role in life now. For if anything slightly is suspicious going on in Houston, they're cheating. They should ban this.
I mean, I almost called him Minute Maid. Daikin is maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles from the University of Houston. Walk over and ask a science person. Just be like, "Is this thing work right?" And show them a bat. I'm just I don't understand. How did no one think, "Hey, could we make bats better?" Look at the rules. It's not a set design. It's hey, the diameter just has to be this thick at one point. That's the thickest can be at one point.
It's completely legal.
Yeah, it's completely legal. They will change the rules.
Yes.
They will change the rules because they had fun. They will change the rules come maybe the mid of the season, end of the season. I don't know. To be fair, also Nestor Cortez was throwing a lot of meatballs. They were, I think it was 93 was the average of his fastball. It wasn't his good stuff. So I don't want them banned. I just think it's hilarious that no one asked anyone.
It took so long to figure this out.
Yeah. We've invented so many types of stuff for your finger, sticky stuff, like sunscreen and rosin, all this stuff. And it's no one said, hey, can the bats be better? Not a single person. So
I do think if they allow the bats, and once again, not to mention for a fourth week in a row, and I will mention them later on, PMT brought up something. If the batters get the bats, pitchers get the sticky stuff. I'm okay with that.
And they also get the steroids. Let's put that back in.
I mean, that was a funny tweet where it was just back in my day, you would just shoot up steroids, not need scientists to tell you how to perfect your bat.
What has happened to Mike? Listen. How baseball should be played? You should go to a sketchy doctor in Mexico, get yourself some testosterone, shoot that in your ass, hit 70 home runs a season. That's how it should work. I don't need some fancy MIT scientist to tell me how to hit better. I just need some questionable, not narcotics, questionable human growth hormones from Mexico. That's how my American baseball is played. So.
Last thing on baseball for me is Aaron Judge is not using it. That's the thing. He's not using the torpedo bat. So that argument just goes out the window. He just dominated Nestor Cortez with 300 runs. That's
the thing is, he's like, I make fun of him because he disappears in the postseason. He's a fantastic hitter during the regular season. He's still a fantastic baseball player. He is a 2-time MVP. Yes, 2-time MVP for a reason.
And people will say it should be 3-time because, Jose Altuve stole it, but fuck off.
He's a 2-time MVP, possibly, if you were annoying, 3-time MVP. He's a good baseball player who hits dingers for fun. He also has a pretty high strikeout rate. At the same time, and he disappears in the playoffs. At the same time, I'm not going to take away his regular season performance from him. So that it makes me like him more. The thing is, Aaron Judge is a very likable person on like every level.
He really
except
is.
the fact he plays for the Yankees.
Yeah.
And so every time he does something like, stop making me like you. Like I think with Shohei Ohtani's, I got to know him outside the Dodgers. Mookie Betts outside the Dodgers. I can't remember his name. Whatever. The one who wanted to go home, the one from the Braves who went to the Dodgers and hated his life for like a season.
Freddie Freeman?
Freddie Freeman. They're all known outside the context of the Dodgers, so I get to like them. The problem with Aaron Judge is I've never gotten him to like him outside the context of the Yankees. But he's just so it's like that smile, that damn smile. It's like that personality, that damn personality. If only he wasn't a Yankee.
No, I agree.
I have one last thing on baseball, which is the Dodgers are really good at it, and they're probably going to win it all.
Yeah, this season
unsurprisingly. Yeah, this season it's like an F1 season. They got the better car, so it's kind of over.
I want them to win it. I want them to win it I want them to break the single season win record. I want them to basically sweep everyone through playoffs, and I want to win it all just because how annoying Jeff Passons has been about the Dodgers didn't ruin baseball. If it looks like the most boring season in the world and the most boring postseason in the world, everyone's going to be like, you're still taking that take, and he's probably going to stand by them. But that's just a very annoying take. Like he takes it as an opportunity, which I agree with, to shit on franchises that are not like spending the money or doing anything. But it's just like, okay, but if they see this going on, why would the owner be like, I should spend a whole bunch of money to try and compete with that? There's no point. It's throwing away money.
Yeah. I mean, look at the A's, look at the Rays, look at their stadiums this season. It feels minor league as well, watching those games. The Dodgers have like definitely ruined baseball from a financial perspective. How much deferred money is there a season in that time? Like Ohtani should be making $70 million this season. You think he's making $7 on top of every other deferred. This offseason, every time someone would sign with Dodgers, the next question we'd ask, and the next part of the tweet usually was, here's the deferred money they have. They're going to win like 112 games. Maybe they lose maybe they're going to win 125 games this season. And the ones they lose are going to be the off nights when they don't feel like playing at the end of the season. They're going to rest everyone. So they have definitely ruined baseball. It is still interesting to see. And I will be watching with great enthusiasm, like Emperor Palpatine says to do. But yeah, that's all I have on baseball. Again, no really overreaction. It's 1 week. It's not even a week yet. It's a couple days.
4 games. There's a game on in an hour, but
yeah. It's 4 games. Talk to me in July. All right. That's when like the Astros usually kind of get it together. It's like, July. We are going to the AL West, aren't we? I say as I knock on my fake Wayfair desk. Not much to report in soccer. Not much really happened this week. Again, I've kind of been watching way too much college basketball still. I know the Crown is going on, the NIT is going on. I tuned in and out, but my main focus is obviously the March Madness tournament. Hockey. I learned this week that the Maple Leafs have not won the Atlantic Division in 20 plus years. Oh. Currently, they are first in the Atlantic Division. Can they keep this up to the end of the season? I'm not going to say anything because this is my first season. I've heard they don't do that well. They are 45, 25, and 4 with 94 points. John Tavares was the second star of the month. Don't know what that means. I talked about him last week about how like I really enjoy him, watching him, how I think he's actually, from what I understand, been a great, like, solid player for the team. He's not like the Austin Matthews. He's not the Mitch Marner, but he is a guy who will score like 13 goals and 7 assists in a month, which is big. Mitch Marner, by the way, has 68 assists this season. I think that's a lot. Is that a lot? It seems like a lot. I think it's a lot. And Austin Matthews is balling, or not balling, pucking? He's pucking.
Skating.
Yeah, skating. An offense and defense, which I think is super cool. I like a guy. I mean, he's my American captain. First off, again, as a new person to the sport, he's my American captain and my captain. But I do like seeing a guy who, like, run back on defense. I say that as a guy who watches a lot of UH basketball. And then Tanev is making defense amazing. He has 172 blocks this season. So I feel like I don't talk about the defense and Maple Leafs enough, but they do have quite an incredible defense. So he's blocked 172 shots. So we're coming to the end of the season. I'm ready for the playoffs. I think the playoffs will be very fun. By the time the playoffs start, we'll have college basketball will be over. This will be NHL, probably will be the main focus over the NBA, because the NBA goes till June.
My side of things, Avalanche are 45, 26, and 4. We have 94 points. We're third place in the Central Division. I don't think we're locked into not a wild card spot yet, but I think we're almost guaranteed playoffs, unless I think we go 0 for 7 and whoever's in both wild card spots or all 3 wild card spots goes 7-0, maybe. Not sure. Should have done the math. Nathan MacKinnon has 110 points, only 1 point lead with 7 games left. So here's the hoping he's held it all season. I hope he doesn't lose it at the end. And All Hell Kale is still top 10 with 85 points. Like I just said, there's 7 games left of the season. We're wrapping up and getting ready for playoffs. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for I've watched some hockey playoffs in the past, but it's going to be, I'm very excited for this now that we've actually watched a good amount of hockey, and we don't know the rules backwards and forwards. I'm still questioning a lot of shit, but with some knowledge of the game, it's going to be a lot more fun to watch, and I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I still vaguely understand what icing is. I will one day understand what icing is. It's like offside, but not. But yeah, no, I really I'm glad we got into this season. That both our teams are probably going to make playoffs.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, there is momentum perhaps of us getting a hockey team, which means bye Avalanche, bye Maple Leafs, but
the thing is, that's been said for 10 years. And at this point, I don't believe it.
Until I'm sitting in the icebox.
Every billionaire in Houston has said, like, I want to bring a team to Houston. And then they don't talk about it for years because it's a nice thing to talk about, but actually having to do it is a hard thing to do. So I don't know. Every one of their mothers talked about that for years since the Arrows left. Whenever there is a team in Houston, I will believe it. Right now, I do not believe it. I like to be pessimistic about my hockey team choices.
Also, Avalanche will just become my number 2 team. They'll be my I don't want to say them. Never mind. Go on. Continue. Let's go.
Okay. Now, we're going to say, I was going to say
Patriots for the NFL, Alabama for college because I went there. My grandfather was a Patriots fan. I've got a connection to 2 of the biggest powerhouses in football ever. So being a Texans fan is hilarious, but Texans are my number 1. And above all, every sport, I would give up every sport that I cheer for would go 0 and whatever their mount. Astros go 0 and 162, Avalanche 0 and 84. I don't know the exact number. Rockets 0 and 82 or whatever, and Texans 0 and 17 if that means Notre Dame won a national championship. So
cool. I thought you were going to say Texans. I was like, oh, that's no. If UH wins the national championship, I'd give up. Astros lose every game. Texans lose every game.
It's the same thing. It matters way more to me that if Notre Dame ever wins a national championship, specifically while my dad's still alive.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it.
I mean, there's something to be said about the fact that college just makes you more passionate in general. Whenever you have gone to the school, you lived on campus, you interacted daily with that entity for at least 4 years of your life, if not more. So yeah, no, I love the Astros, love the Texans. The Rockets are there. Not in defense of the Rockets, I just don't watch your sport really. I don't watch your professional basketball that much. Maple Leafs, new guy, like them so far. They seem cool. They're they're my new side bitch. Kind of cool. I probably should delete that. That's not funny. And then Liverpool, I love Liverpool, but I've seen them win a good amount. They're probably going to win win the Premier League this season, I'd give up everything, all of that, to see UH win a national championship and have that forever. I've seen 2 Final Fours. Oh, I've seen 1 Final Four. I'll see the second Final Four this weekend. So we'll get to that in a second, though. Football time, pro football time. Tush push ban still being talked about. Still really stupid. Kind of tired of it. We've talked about it before. The Eagles are set up for this. They've drafted a line. They've created a line that's good at this. It's not like they're like cheating. Oh. Also, at the same time, hey, you don't want them to do the tush push? Don't let them get to the 1 yard line. Like, just don't. This is kind of on every other team. So I'm so tired of hearing about this. But they talk about it every winter or every coach. Or they've talked about it like for the last every couple of weeks for the last months or so since the Super Bowl. And then I feel like they're probably going to ban it because no fun league. Thanks, Roger.
Eventually, yeah. My 2 quick notes is that overtime is now a 10-minute period, and both teams get to touch the ball in the regular season. Mm-hmm. And then to plug them again, go read Big Cat's NFL coach's picture blog. He does a blog once a year now, and I wish he'd blog way more. He's incredible at it. But he does a blog once a year, and it's about the NFL coaching. They take a picture of all the NFL coaches for the upcoming season, and he just gives them all awards and just writes about it. And it is some of my favorite things to read ever.
Quickly, speaking of blogging, I'm writing a blog right now about how I think Noah Khan's version of Georgia on My Mind is one of the worst things I've ever heard, mostly because he deeply misunderstands the source material.
Yeah. I think Noah Khan's very talented, but I don't think that's his song.
He also it's like me writing it's not like me writing a song about Minnesota. I don't know a thing about Minnesota. I know Green Bay's there. That's kind of about all I know about Minnesota. I know, the Gophers are there. All my knowledge is about sports. It's not that I don't like Noah Khan. He's just not for me. It's like how I talk about Taylor Swift. She's just not for me. Noah Khan writes songs for people from the Northeast. I'm not from the Northeast. It just has like twinge that I don't get. Georgia on My Mind is about a deep love of Georgia. This longing for it. Noah Khan has been to Atlanta probably. And that's about it. And that's not Georgia. I've seen people say and this is my rant real quickly. I've seen people say, well, watch him play golf. Okay. But this isn't about golf. This is about Georgia, the state. This is about Augusta National.
The song is not written originally for the Masters. Yeah, the Masters just uses that song as a marketing ploy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not about the it's not even about the Masters. It's just I'm
so excited.
I know I am too. I feel like every year I'm like, I should watch more golf. And then the Masters come around. I'm like, I love golf. And then I never go play golf.
We need to do that. I've been playing almost once, I'd say 1.5 times a week since I left Methodist.
Mm-hmm. We do need to play. We can find probably a Friday afternoon to just play at some point. Or something like that. Okay. Okay. I'll let you know when I'm down that side. 2 more things on NFL. One, I don't know if you saw Stephon Diggs' contract. We talked about him last week going to the Patriots.
3 for $69
for $26 million guaranteed. That seems almost high. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But
a lot of incentives in there.
Yeah. Well, no, $69 million seemed high just in general for 3 years. He's 31, 32, 31. So it just felt high for a guy his age who is coming off an ACL tear, maybe. I can't remember what he had, but
ACL.
It just kind of feels high. Again, like Stephon Diggs, happy for him. Just felt high. Who am I though to say anything? I'm just a guy online. Also, the Jets have offered buyouts to 170 of their 250 employees. Feels ominous.
I didn't know that, man. That's actually nuts.
And one of them is probably not Aaron Rodgers because he's already gone. Maybe more Aaron Rodgers friends. But yeah, no, I didn't read more into it. I just saw it. I was like, that's if you're running a company and you ask for, I don't know percentage, let's say 65% of your employees to leave. That doesn't seem good. That seems bad. And I don't know can the Jets go bankrupt? Can an NFL team go bankrupt? Has that ever happened before? I know in Premier League or in FA's Football Association soccer it can, and it becomes a whole thing where the team disappears. Can an NFL team go bankrupt? That's actually a good question I should ask.
I don't know, but I feel like there's a story somewhere about that.
That's all to say. The Jets are a joke of an organization. You bet your livelihood on Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. Nothing ever worked. You fired Robert Saleh when it really wasn't his fault, and you should have kept him around. So what a joke of an organization. Go Giants with that best quarterback room of all time.
That's so good, dude. That fucking quarterback room is going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Again, soft knocks. The Blue Chew commercial, soft knocks. Time to get to the main event, though. College basketball, the Final Four. It's kind of crazy to think about. Like, next time we talk, there will be a national champion because there are 4 teams left. Next time we talk, there will be a national champion. I am partially excited for the Final Four. Florida Auburn's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it.
Are you also stressed out?
Yeah. So okay. So there. Let me walk you through the mind I have right now.
Uh-oh.
I really want UH to win, really badly, because if they win, I'm going to the national championship. Like, no questions asked. I'm paying the fee. I'm going to the national championship. My boss has already been like, "Hey, buddy, like,
you're going.
Go. Good.
You should live tweet from the Moonstamp account.
I'd love to, but that all depends on does UH go. So I'm not going to Duke versus Florida. By the way, I think Florida's going to win. I'm not going to Duke versus Florida. This is going to be a great game. Not going to go pay $200 plus a ticket to go watch it. And the issue is, I also want to go Saturday, but I don't think UH is going to win on Saturday. I think the length, the depth, and just the overall
Wasn't Cooper Flagg hurt?
Not right now.
Someone had an elbow injury, I thought.
He did, but before. He's back full on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch either game.
Okay.
So.
Knipple's back. Everyone the Duke team looks stacked right now. And they look good. They've faced multiple different teams who have they've been better than their ACC competition. They've looked fantastic the entire time. I am just under the impression that they're going to lose, or UH is going to lose. With that said, UH posted a graphic that just said it's drivable. And that almost made me a heart flutter because I was like, yeah, you're right. It's drivable. How many times will UH be in the Final Four? I mean, to be fair, 2 and 4 years, that's amazing. But 2 and 4 years is not normal. We're outside the Overton window. I don't know. We're outside the normal range. How many times will UH be in a Final Four within driving distance, where I will not have to pay for lodging either because I know people in San Antonio?
You got to do it, man.
I feel like I have to do it, but I also don't want to go see them lose. Which is every UH fan I've talked to who's a friend of mine has gone, I will go to the national championship.
I'm torn. I love you. You're one of my best friends in the world. You're my co-host. But I certainly remember a couple months ago when I was in a similar situation. And I'm not sure what I want more. Do I want my friend to be happy? Or do I want the fun conversation after the Final Four national championship? Either way, it's good content for me. You're either going to be celebrating. Now, if we're talking purely, I care about Moonstamp Sports, only that. The best case scenario is you going to the game, going to the national championship, going against, who do you hate more? Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn. Beating the shit out of Auburn, losing to a buzzer beater. That would be the ultimate throat rip out. Now, I don't actually want that as a human being. As a human being, that is too much. I don't want you to lose as a human being. I'd rather you win. I'd rather have the celebratory conversation afterwards. For clips similar to the Notre Dame game, where I was barely here consciously because all I was thinking was replaying the game in my head because we recorded the day after. I think I want you to win. I think I want Houston to win also because we're attached to Houston. I live in Houston. But there's going to be a little bit nugget back there there's this little silver lining in the back of my head where it's not all bad for me.
I do want to point out the reason I picked Ohio State is purely because I picked them
You
originally.
You did. You picked them at the beginning too.
Yeah. But I understand. First of all, payback is a bitch. Second, or as JoJo Siwa says, karma is a bitch. Two, it would make for amazing content if like UH gets murdered. I just get to come on here and just like you ask me a question, like I'm not paying attention.
I don't care. Whatever you're saying.
I don't care.
That's exactly what it was. I had to I spent an hour before we recorded on the Notre Dame one. I spent an hour quietly sitting in the office that I'm currently in. Wasn't watching it, just listening to music, staring at my screen like, how the fuck am I going to get through this? There's no angle of happiness here. There's no we'll get him next year or anything. There was nothing.
I thought I was devastated after the Astros lost the World Series in 2019 and 2021. I can only imagine what's going to happen if they get to the national championship and lose. I don't know. I had this like deep love of UH and I want them to win so badly. And then I look around and I'm like, but Brian, the Duke's so good. Also, I picked them to win the national championship anyway.
They are really fucking good.
Yeah.
But if you want a little bit of nugget from what I've seen, I think U of H has the best chance of the remaining teams because of the defense.
I do as well. It's the top offense in Ken Palm versus the top defense in Ken Palm. But that said, I think Duke has like a top 5 defense as well. So it's not like, I think I saw maybe a Reddit comment was like top defense versus top offense. And all the Duke fans are like, yeah, but we have a good defense too. It's like, well, I didn't say that. I just said they have a top offense. Duke is now, do I hope if I believe in one person to outcoach what Duke can do, I think it might be Kelvin Sampson. John Shire is still a very young coach. Kelvin Sampson's I don't want to say an old coach. That's a weird way to put it, but he's a coach with experience. Look at the play at the end of the Purdue game. He's a coach with experience who knows how to handle big situations. Again, with that said, like, can you beat Duke if UH isn't shooting well? Like, look at Alabama versus Duke. Alabama just couldn't shoot well. And next thing you know, it's like 65-90. Like it was a bad game for Alabama because they didn't shoot well. Now they also didn't play amazing defense. John Shire also schemed really well, where he didn't allow because Alabama loves to drive and then pass out to the perimeter. He didn't allow that to happen. John Shire schemed so that did not happen. Alabama could not pass out to the perimeter. They could barely drive, and when they did, they couldn't pass out. UH, as someone put it on Twitter, they have 2 ballers and 3 guys who could play on the Steelers, which as someone who's watched the rebounding game, as someone who's seen them play, their style.
It's a very funny tweet, though.
It's a great tweet because it's kind of true. Like, I don't know, maybe if you put like JoJo Tugler on the Steelers, like, I'm not going to say he's going to make the team or the practice squad, but like, he will give you a run for your money. Even like LJ Cryer, who's not a big guy. I think he's 6'1". I'm still going to put him on the Steelers. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. These guys are tough guys. So when you go against a guy like maybe Cooper Flagg, but the thing is, Cooper Flagg's not like the Duke white boy syndrome never appeared, which is very saddening.
I know.
He's such a nice boy.
I was suspicious all year.
I know. I was waiting for it to happen all year. I was like, something's going to trigger. And then like Knipple also didn't trigger. Like, it's like, they're just 2 nice boys who play at Duke under their friend John Shire. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. I want to go to the game. I also want to spend money to see my team lose. It's the agony of the hope. Whenever last week I was like, well, we got to the Sweet 16, so I feel okay if we lose. And by like the second half, I was like, well, we better not lose. When we got to the Elite Eight, I'm like, Tennessee's a really good team. They play a hard defense. SEC's a good conference. Maybe we haven't faced the same amount of competition. Destroy Tennessee. 15 points in the first half. Huh?
Question for you, personal question.
Yeah.
How worried is your girlfriend for your health?
I don't know if she's worried. She knows she's going to beat me she wants UH to win purely to beat me in the bracket because she's beating me now. Right now I'm playing the game where I'm like, I'm just happy they got there. By Thursday, it's going to be very different. I'll be like, no, no, I need them to win for my own mental health. Come Saturday, I've said we're going to go strawberry picking in the morning to get my mind off things. We're going to watch Florida, Auburn. And then that night, I might have to go sit alone in my own room by myself in my own apartment, lock doors, phone off, and just take whatever's given to me. Whether that be UH win, UH loss, or a hard game. I don't know. Right now, I feel like, hey, we got to the Final Four again in San Antonio. That's so cool. It comes out and I'm like, I want to go to that national championship. I want to pay $300 for a ticket. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm in good spirits now.
I'm not saying your girlfriend is anything like my wife, but it was very convenient that during the national championship, my wife found something on Facebook Marketplace that she was looking for a long time and went to go buy it at halftime. Just so happens that she needed to get the hell out of the house.
Yeah, no, I told the story whenever she came over for, I think it was the Gonzaga game. At the end of the game, she's like, well, did you like the rodeo? I was like, no, we're not talking. Like, I can't talk right now. And I mean this with love, but like, shut up. Like, please don't talk to me for my own sake. Cause like my heart's beating so fast, blood might come out of my mouth. I don't know how it's going. I don't understand anatomy, but yeah, no,
you know what? I take it all back. I am 100% cheering for University of Houston just because I want to have a co-host. I enjoy having a co-host. So
see, but the thing is, I feel like if I was in your position after you had done, I'd been like, go Ohio State. I'd been like, go.
But you weren't doing that for my misery. You were doing that because you were like, I said it from the beginning. Everyone said fuck Ohio State because they lost to Michigan. They weren't going to do shit. But I looked at the details and I found out like this, and this works. Hell yeah, Ohio State's winning a national championship. You had a take and had this research to back it up, even though a lot of people counted them out, and you were right. That is completely different. If I had been riding Florida or Auburn or whoever you would play the whole time, like let's say I was just riding Florida the whole time, and then that's what happened, that would be different. I'd be like, yeah, it's for my take, and when I said they were going to win it at the beginning, blah, blah, blah. It's completely different. I don't have a horse in this race outside of content, and that's you being alive in here is way more important.
I do think, at the end of the day, I think by next time we record if we record on Tuesday, never mind. I was going to say if we record on like Wednesday, it might be better if something bad happens. Like if UHL is in the Final Four, by Tuesday, I think it'll be better. I'll be like, you know what? I got through it. I understand why. We started this year UH started this year and everyone's kind of under the impression they're not going to do as well as they did in the past. Just because it was kind of a weird place for the team. We played Auburn, we played Alabama. They just didn't look like they had a guy. Now they you look at Cryer, you look at Uzan, you look at even Malik Wilson at times. You look at Arsenault. You look at guys okay, we have shooters. You look at a Tugler. You look at a Jawan Roberts. You're like, okay, I feel better. I don't know. I don't know. Would I love to blow out Duke? Yes. Will that happen? Of course not. Unless
it's gonna be a
Duke,
close game, I think either way.
It's gonna be a close game either way. I don't know. Maybe the pessimist in me goes. I saw the Purdue game. The problem with the Purdue game was Kelvin Sampson, and this is part of his goodness and part of his detriment. He was playing high traps and would never give it up. But it was high trap defense, and he just never go hey, maybe Braden Smith can pass the ball really well. That's his entire game is to pass the ball super well, and that's when we got to where we got to with the whole. By the way, Uzan and Braden Smith, the push off. I don't know if you saw the push off. Mm-hmm. Here's my take on that. Uzan definitely pushed off. At the same time, Braden Smith definitely flopped a little, and he had flopped. And it's one of those things where I don't ever give deference to refs because I don't like refs. No one does like refs.
No one likes refs.
No one likes refs.
Cops. They're the cops of the sports world.
Yeah. ACAB includes refs. ACLAB includes Big 12 refs. But there's always been a saying that sometimes you have to fall to get the call. If let's say Braden Smith hadn't fallen at all there, probably wouldn't have gotten the call.
No.
But you gotta learn to my king LeBron. You have to learn to flop, where you flop enough to where okay, something didn't happen, but not enough to where it's hey man, come on. To be fair, LeBron has done the come on flop a couple times. But yeah, no, I want to give some deference because the ref is well, okay, how much of it was a push off and how much of it was a flop? It's late in the game. Do I want to interfere? And that led to the last play, which, by the way, Braden Smith pulling off is something he's done the entire season. It was a good pick as well. And Braden Smith had to go. It was either leave an open shot for, I think it was Cryer, or leave Uzan unguarded. And neither were a good option. Probably the better option was to leave Cryer unguarded. But who am I to say anything? I'm not running the defense for Purdue.
I think you bring up a really good point, though. Sometimes in sports, two things can be right. Mm-hmm. Two things can be right at the same time. Was it a little bit of a push-off? By definition, yes. Was it a foul? By definition, yes. Two things can be true at the same time, and it's the only time I'll really give a benefit of a doubt to a ref where it's like, at full speed, they got to call this shit at full speed. That's the one thing we don't. We get the slow down replay, and we're like, how could he call that? That was all ball, or like not for this example, obviously, but like a block is like that was all ball. How did he call a foul on that? Because it's like that. And if you're not you're doing a judgment call and you don't have much time to think about it, but talking about the tournament in a whole, I feel like the refs have kind of made March Madness a little bit about them this year.
I mean, if you even watch the people complaining about the push off didn't watch the entire game. The first half, Purdue got all the calls. The second half, Houston got all the calls. It was just a weird thing where it's like, I think center fans, like if you're just watching the game as a neutral, you can kind of say the refs sucked that game, right? And they did suck that game. I say that as a Houston fan who saw like the second half, was like, okay, like I'm not going to complain, but it's getting a little ridiculous. But after the first time, I was like, guys, that was clearly goaltending. There were multiple fouls that weren't called that would have got guys to like 4 fouls. So yeah, no, the March Madness refs have been. I need to look up where the ref crews are from, just because they've not been like in big game situations. They've not been great so far.
I don't know if they set refs ahead of time.
Probably.
Because I would say whatever conference is completely out, that's the refs I would use.
Yeah.
I would use all Big Ten refs for the rest of the time.
Yeah, I imagine it's a Big Ten crew or something like that, or like a mix of like Big Ten. I don't think they bring in a Big 12 or an SEC crew or an ACC crew
or an ACC. Yeah, I think your safest bet, so no one can claim that's bias is. I mean, for the first round, you could do SEC for AC Duke versus Houston, and you could do ACC or Big 12 or Big 10 for the other one. Yeah. That's fine. But I'm saying for the final, it should be a Big 10 because there's no even lingering like, oh well, they eliminated a Big 10 school. The Big 10 is not in the Final Four, so it should for the final it should be a Big 10 reffing crew, in my opinion.
That's kind of why I was hoping that Michigan State would win, only because you'd have a Power Four, Final Four. Michigan State
bring in a Big East.
Yeah, yeah. Bring in Rick Pitino himself. But no, I don't know. I imagine usually whenever I get to like big games like that, refs are a little more lenient on some things just because they don't want to be the guys in the game. So I imagine this weekend you'll see a lot of more
NBA does that too.
What'd you say?
NBA really is pretty good about that. Where the regular season you're fucking rolling your eyes, but in the postseason they're pretty good about letting them play.
Yeah. So I imagine come Saturday and Monday you'll see if probably people complain about no calls, but like I'd rather have no calls than too many calls personally, even as like a neutral. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this weekend. I don't. If and this is me saying now, if UH does get past the Final Four and goes to the national championship, I will be at the national championship. That's not a question. That's
as you should be.
I can't miss that. Like how many times I'm going to have driving opportunities for that. So, I mean, also I just want to mention one other thing: BYU Alabama, very fun game because neither team looked bad. Alabama just literally could not stop hitting shots.
BYU played a great game.
Yeah.
They just ran into, I don't know, a team shooting 50% from three and shooting 53s.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
I think they like broke the most threes made in an NCAA tournament.
Attempt and made and percentage, I believe.
Yeah. Like that's
the greatest 3-point shooting game in NCAA tournament history. And you didn't, and if you look at the final score and just the box score, you're like, oh wow. Yeah, Alabama killed them. If you watch that game, BYU played a great game. They just had a historic event happen at them.
There were over 200 points scored, which is genuinely insane. I think when the line was like 172.5, you were like, oh, that's a crazy.
I was like, wow, that's a lot.
They smashed that by 28. There were fun games this weekend. I think people are still like, there are a lot of people, and I don't hate to say the word casuals, who are still a little like, where's the madness? But I would actually argue that 4 number 1 seeds making the Final Four is kind of madness, and almost like, I don't want to say says the committee did a good job, but it does say the committee did a good job.
It's not over yet, because we could have a phenomenal weekend. In theory, these are the 4 best teams in the nation. They're the four teams that earned it. This should be how it shakes out, right? If they only did a 4-team tournament, this is what the tournament would have been set as. But putting Houston bias aside, because you've made it so far, out of 10, what would you give this tournament right now?
I'd probably give it a 6.
Wow, that low.
Yeah. I think it's, like, comparatively, I think part of March Madness is the fun of March Madness. And there's been, like, I'm not gonna say there's not been, like, if you're like me and you watch college basketball, you're like, well, of course, Evan Mia has these 4 teams. It's like the top 4 teams in defensive and offensive efficiency. You see his graph right here. It's like, you're like, oh yeah, these teams are really good and I enjoy watching them. But if you're, and I'm just putting my bias aside, like, I'm talking as like a casual person here. If you're just like a casual dude, you're like, well, it kind of sucks. Like, number 1 seeds only. Like, okay, where's the madness? Now, again, I would argue 4 number 1 seeds making the Final Four is madness. And that hasn't happened in like 17 years or something like that, since 2008. And so I rated it a 6. I think there weren't a lot of close games, even the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. With that said, I personally think this weekend's going to be some amazing basketball. I mean, Florida Auburn was already good as it was. You had Todd Golden versus Bruce Arena, or not Bruce Arena. Curse be upon his name. That's a soccer coach. Bruce Pearl, who it's like mentor versus mentee. When Bruce Pearl took over Auburn in 2014, his director of basketball operations was Todd Golden, the coach of Florida. And then you have John Shire, the new kid on the block, the guy who's taken over for Coach K, potentially the new Coach K, with a team of just the deepest team you can think of, with the number 1 overall pick on his team, versus Kelvin Sampson, a guy who's been in the game for a long time. He's been coaching for years. He's taken, Oklahoma to the Final Four. He's taken UH to the Final Four. He has the depth of knowledge. He's a team that just, it's not like, I'm not gonna say they're not 5 stars. Like, he has 5 stars on his team, but that's not what he recruits. He doesn't recruit number 1 overall picks. But the guys who are just dogs, I hate to say guys who are dogs. It sounds so corny, but like guys who are just going to go out there and try to eat you alive. And so it's going to be a fantastic weekend, in my opinion. There are some great storylines, and I mean, it's still a national championship, so it's always fun. It's in a stadium. It's the Alamo Dome. I've been before. Not a great stadium. Little old, but it's going to be a great weekend, in my opinion. And who cares? Like, if again, it could be the worst games ever. If UH wins, I don't give a shit. Don't give a shit.
Banners wave forever.
Yeah, banners are there. I mean, we'll get a Final Four banner, but it's just, it's not the same.
I feel like that's the one sport. I feel like college basketball is the one sport that you can like hang banners for, like, Sweet 16, baby. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. Because it's hard. It's hard. Like, especially if you're playing other basketball teams. Like, I think UH actually had the hardest road in a while. Maybe, I don't know, because they have played a 16 seed, an 8, a 4, and a 2, which has been a while since they went. I mean, that's like theoretically the path for a number 1 seed.
And theoretically, not theoretically, they're playing a 1, and then in the national championship, they would have to play a 1. Yeah, so if they won it all, then I believe you that's the highest you could possibly play each seed as a number 1 seed.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if there's one thing I know about UH and know about Kelvin Sampson, it's never going to be easy. The only way over is through. And so sometimes you just got to get through it. And so I love Kelvin Sampson. I believe in Kelvin Sampson. In 2014, when he first got to campus, he walked around campus with a bullhorn, asking kids to come and get basketball games.
Hell yeah. Now, Kelvin Sampson,
I mean, they're having to figure out how to sell season, like how to structure season tickets, because so many people want them. I tried to go to the Iowa State game. It's like $300 for the Iowa State game. If a guy's gone to 2 Final Fours in 4 years, it's really incredible what he's done. He's going to get a statue at some point, I imagine. Something's gonna be named after him. There's the Guy B. Lewis court for Guy B. Lewis, who was the Phi Sigma Jamma coach, and also before that and a little bit after that. But he'll get something someday at UH because he really has turned that culture around. I would love, like, this is where my UH fan comes in. I would love for him to win a national championship because, like, I do think he deserves it for the path he's taken. Indiana fans may disagree. Don't really care about Indiana fans. You're not in the Final Four. But there will be fans who disagree in Indiana. But I do think a lot of fans will look at that and go, there's one guy who I do think in this deserves the national championship. Just personally, for all the work he's put in, is Kelvin Sampson to reward him. It's never going to be easy. The only way through is forward, but we'll see what happens. I am not looking forward to it, only for my own mental sake. But it will be a good weekend. It will be a good game. We'll see what happens. Next week, I'm going to be really happy or like moderately sad or very sad. So depending on, let's record on Tuesday. Why not?
Listen, I need you to know that going into this weekend, you're a pretty healthy guy. Like I would put you up there in top 10% of all Americans when it comes to health. When it comes to this weekend, food and beverage don't have calories. Mm-hmm. Enjoy yourself. You get through however you have to get through. Okay? Just copium through food. Copium through drink. Whatever you need to do it.
The first weekend at college, back because I moved out. That was it's scary to move out. It's something new. You're moving alone to a dorm. I picked the Rooster Teeth Goes to the Moon Let's Play Minecraft series to watch, only because the line. I think it was that. It was another. I don't know. It's not gay if it's on the moon. Made me cry tears of joy when I heard it the first time. So I thought it was so funny. It was also just a great thing. But I picked it and I watched it. It made me feel better. It made me feel like I was safe and at home. Compare that to now. I'm going to need to watch something that I love for my own sake. I'll watch like Kingdom of Heaven or The Social Network. Yeah, I already have my Shiner Shandies. I love Shandies. A little bit of lemonade, a little bit of beer. Let's see. Let's have a weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend.
It's so weird saying that on a fucking Tuesday.
I know. I mean, we had like a meeting today at work, and my boss goes, by the way, say some prayers for Jorden this week. He's about to have a hard weekend. I was like, appreciate that, boss. Let's go. I don't know. Is there anything else? I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about with basketball. I have one last thing. I've got nothing.
I'm out of notes completely. So
okay. I just wanted to talk about the Buzz Williams situation at A&M. If you're an A&M fan, you should cry. Only because Buzz Williams left for Maryland. I think you have 8 seniors graduating, 8 graduates or seniors, 8 guys leaving the team. You have probably guys who are going to transfer out to go with Buzz Williams, because the thing with Buzz Williams is Buzz Williams, and that people really like Buzz Williams. I said Buzz Williams way too much in that, but you get the gist. People like him. People come to A&M for him. Now A&M's kind of in this weird position because all the coaches who were going to, like the coaching carousel, it's kind of already happened. It started about 2 weeks ago. If you kind of start looking up coaches, like if you look up, you look at like VCU, if you look at Colorado State, you look at all these guys, they've already left and gone somewhere else. You look at like a Kevin Willard also started this entire thing off by going to Villanova unexpectedly. You gotta look at all that and you go, oh shit, who is there? And when you think about like top tier coaches who can maybe force A&M to that second tier, so they've kind of been on this weird pace where like they can't really get over the first weekend of the tournament. They have good players, but they can't get that through that first weekend. You look and go, who's out there? There's really not any coach out there right now. There's like I can't remember Liberty's coach's name. I would imagine Liberty's coach would take a job at A&M. Don't think A&M would hire him just because it's too low of a school. It's going to be interesting to see who A&M picks up. They're going to have to pick someone up quickly because the portal is open already. And you're going to have to, recruits might decommit. You're going to have to see what's going to happen with that. But it kind of sucks to be an A&M fan right now for basketball. Their baseball team also kind of sucks. Yeah, gig 'em, but I mean that derogatorily. Gig 'em derogatorily. But yeah, who cares? UH is good at basketball, so I feel like we have authority over the state of Texas in terms of basketball sports now. Not football. Not football.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, we got Willie Fritz has got 3 more years until the timeline is up. But yeah. Oh, this has been a podcast. This is more of an venting session than it has been a podcast at this point. So thank you. I'll pay you like $150 an hour for this. That'll be your fee. I have one last thing, which is the question: is the Rizzler this generation Shirley Temple? And that's about all I have. Brian, where can the people find you?
You can find me across all social medias at Auric Polaris, AuricPolaris, especially on twitch.tv/Auric Polaris. I'm planning on streaming some more of the Soul Link with Moon on Thursday, and then possibly doing something on Saturday. This has been a very weird week for me, between school and a golf charity event that I'm doing tomorrow, and having to take my lovely dog, who has been kind of sick, which I'm kind of nervous about because we've already had to record through one death of a dog. I've got to take her to the vet on Friday. It sounds like it's just allergy. Should be okay. But so just prayers for that. And then so I'm not streaming very much this week. Sorry to put that little sour note at the end. Jorden, where can the people find you?
Pollen is bad these days. I'm also struggling. So props to your dog on that. Find me at Jordan's Thoughts on Twitter. I may be tweeting during the National or during the Final Four. Probably not. But find me there. Find me at Moonstamp Sports at Twitter or /X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. But I think that ban is coming up quickly. So who knows?
It's the 5th, right?
Is it the 5th? Well, we'll release this on the 3rd. So while supplies last for 2 more days. Peace, TikTok. So yeah, find us there. Thanks so much for listening. If you're listening on a platform, please comment, subscribe, like, rate, whatever you can do. We really appreciate you so much.
Stay beautiful.